Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's a TNG review show. Yay! Hey, we're back, Maz. We're back. It seems like forever ago.
And kicking bottom.
Back and kicking bottom. Good evening, everyone. It is us. We're back to talk about Star Trek The Next Generation again on a Wednesday with my co-host, Maz and Bob. Good evening, Maz.
Hello.
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Yes, after a very stressful whole month, our Ukrainian guests got their travel visas.
Woohoo!
So yeah, I was raging this weekend when they weren't coming through, but they've finally come through. So let's hope they can get to the UK and we can keep them nice and safe.
Yes, do you know when they'll be able to get flights and things? Or?
I don't know. Could be next week, could be the week after. They're looking at various airports and stuff. It's difficult because of Easter holidays and prices are jacked up and stuff like that. So, yeah, they're just looking at options.
Right. Well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for them. Anyway, that is good news. That's good news to start the episode off on.
Defo.
Yes. And did you have a nice Easter?
I had a very nice Easter. Yeah, it was quite relaxing. Ludacris was working, so had a little BBQ on Friday, and then just some chilled out time at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Ludacris has damaged his ear, so
last Tuesday he had a little slip fall. It was all glued together. He's just taken all the glue off it today. Actually, it's
Is it
it's
looking
healed
better?
quite well. Yeah, you can definitely sort of see where it was, but it's healing quite well. It just looks like a sort of like a line, I guess, but yeah, it's not too bad.
Cool. And we've got a number of people in chat already, so good evening to Smile a Rainbow. Mickey's early. Mickey is early. But Mickey as usual. Stu Plum's already online. In fact, for Easter, Stu Plum got me a nice Bruce Jack South African Pinotage Malbec. So that's the blood wine for this evening. My Easter present.
Pinotage Malbec.
A Pinotage.
Did you know our friend Joel told me that a Pinotage Malbec is the very best Malbec?
Is it really?
I haven't actually found one, but you're actually drinking
there
one.
There you
so
go.
amazing.
Bruce Jack Pinotage Malbec.
Nice. I have a Rioja. It's quite nice though.
And Karen's on. Good evening, Galactic Bodies. I know. I have got my own gravitational attraction.
Just like doing slapping her hands.
Slappity slap slaps. You'll notice in the you might not have noticed, but in the splash screen at the beginning, I've changed the logo to red, but I forgot to change it on the banner at the bottom. So it's still blue at the bottom, but it's red now. We're red. We're going red on the Vault, our sort of corporate colour. But yeah, let me know what you think of the brand. You gotta keep on brand. Let us know what you think of the red theme on the homepage, on the YouTube homepage. Now we want to know your thoughts.
I no longer have my blue halo.
No, I say your camera angle's all different. I don't know. We leave it for a week and suddenly we come back and everything's changed.
Well, I thought I'd better let the dining table be used for, dining at, as I'm going to be having house guests. So yeah, got myself a stand-up desk so I'm not sat down all the time. And
very cool.
Yeah, and now it's looking down the room instead of just that wall.
I even, because I'm a petty little person, I even changed the little colour next to our names look in the window.
I noticed.
So it's a little
red.
A little red dot now instead of a blue one.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Stu Plum. If you are watching, please remember to like the stream. All those little likes help us a lot. So yes, remember to like it. I haven't done that myself this time, so I'll do that in a minute.
I have, for a change. And also we got some good news on our subscription numbers.
We have the Vault is now over 200 subs, and as of today we've hit 220. We've gone up 20 in the past week, so that's been fantastic.
It's going up quite rapidly, isn't it?
Yeah. And in fact, yesterday we had the most number of views on the channel we've ever had, with 309 views in one day. This is all G-Star's videos. We can't claim any credit for it.
No.
But you know, it's great that he's got his passion, and it's coming through in his content. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very, very cool. On that, the next Monty Zone will be not this Friday coming, but the following Friday, the 29th. So we've got loads of interesting things to talk about lined up, to moon conspiracies, Mars photos, various things. We've got a whole host of items to discuss on that Friday. So if you are free and want to talk to us about those things, join us on Friday the 29th for the next Monty Zone. Yes. Yes, so we're here to talk about the Most Toys Season 3 episode tonight. Now, I have to say, the place I usually get the images from, Memory Alpha, really supplied no images with this episode. So I've had to come up with an alternative. So I've got links in my script. So what I'm thinking of doing is, they're going to be a bit of an odd shape because I've got ultra-wide monitors. But I'm just going to share one of my screens and have that up as the image, and I'll click on the links as we go through. That's the way.
Yeah, I noticed the same when I was doing a Facebook post, because I usually go on there to get the image, and there was one right at the beginning, and then there were two right at the very end, and there was like nothing. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4.
Yeah.
No pictures. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, strange. It is strange, but it is what it is. We'll manage. We'll figure it out. But yes. So we are here to talk about the Most Toys. It is episode 22 of season 3, so we are making our way through it now. Production number 40273-170. It first aired on the 7th of May 1990. Oh, I forgot to say before I start, I meant to say one other thing. It's George Takei's 85th birthday today, so happy birthday, George Takei.
Is it?
Yes.
Ah, well, there you go.
When they told him he was 85, he probably said, "Oh my." That's what he says, isn't it? Oh my. Anyway.
He does.
Yeah.
But a little bit camper.
Yeah. Yes, anyway, happy birthday, George. The Most Toys was the 69th episode to be produced and released, and the synopsis goes: a trader fakes Data's death to add him to his collection of rare and unique objects. It was written by Cherie Goodharts, who also wrote Night Terrors and Violations, and it was directed by Timothy Bond, who also directed The Vengeance Factor. Who wants to see another look at the trailer that we saw at the end of the last episode? Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Trailer time. Share screen. Sorry for the ultra wideness of my monitor.
Getting a little bit of buffering, but
Are we?
yeah.
Are we getting buffering?
Continue.
Oh, that's not good, is it? Let me just have a quick
Plum
look.
and Kaz both saying so much.
Oh. Is Alpal on the VR? VR, yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. Try, if you are getting some buffering, try maybe going down to 480, or, off of 720, because you can change the ratio on your side. I don't know if that might help. I don't know. But I don't know. Let us know if it gets any worse. It seems all right. I'm looking at this control panel on my side, and it seems all right. Anyway, here is the trailer.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
What am I doing here?
Commander Data is held hostage by powerful aliens.
If I help you escape, will you take me with you?
Will he break free and survive his capture? Or will he face death trying to escape?
No life signs.
Find out on the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
They do give away quite a lot of the plot in that trailer.
They do a bit, don't they? They do a bit. But they kind of reorder things to change the narrative. So it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Mickey wants to know if Chewie's on the iPad. Smiler says the kids were downloading stuff, but she's stopped them now.
They were downloading stuff. We had a conversation about this over the meal table. It's supposed to be on the internet. Anyway.
Naughty
Knots. Hopefully it's okay now. So bear with us. Yep. So that was a trailer. I think it's a pretty good trailer for this episode. It sounds pretty exciting. Yeah. So here we go for the first picture. Let's hope this works. Because I've got to share the screen. There we go. You can see it. It's there. That should be all right, shouldn't it?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. So the teaser. We have a very nice opening shot that we can see here of the 4-foot model. We can tell by the detailing on the hull. The shots for this episode, incidentally, all the space-like shots of the Enterprise and things, were all new. Were all new shots done for this episode, which is pretty unusual because they usually reuse a lot of the Enterprise flybys and things. But it was pretty much all newly shot.
It must have been a decently budgeted one then.
Yeah, or maybe because they didn't really have any other, it was kind of a one-room sort of show. They just used the budget to get some new shots. But
well, maybe. I mean, they went onto a planet. They did. An alien ship and
they did.
Whatever. Yeah, there's a few different scenes.
Yeah, there is. Anyway, in the log, we learned that they are procuring hytritium. Hytritium? Yes. A rare and volatile element for treating, poisoned water supply on the colony planet of Beta Agril 2. The seller, Kivas Fajo. The seller is Kivas Fajo. That's who they're getting off. And we see the Enterprise parked in front of his ship here in the picture. Don't know, can't quite see his ship, but it's down there somewhere. So that gives me the first question. What is the name of Fajo's ship? Is it A, the Jarvis, B, the Jovis, C, the Harvis, or D, the Hovis?
Jarvis, Jovis, Harvis, Hovis.
Yes. So,
do you know what? I don't know that.
Put your answers in chat. What is the name of Fajo's ship? The Jarvis, Jovis, Harvis, or Hovis? A, B, C, or D? And how many points for the first question do you usually give? 20? Something like that, isn't it? Oh, you've just muted yourself there, Maz. I think you might have leant on your mute button. There you go. There you go. Yes, so Data's transporting the last of the Hytritium using shuttle pod Pike. Don't tell him your name, Pike. Do you get that reference?
Is that from the first one with the Christopher Pike? No.
Well, the shuttle pod's named after, as you say, Christopher Pike, the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk. But the "Don't Tell Him Your Name" Pike is a reference to Dad's Army.
Oh no, definitely didn't get that.
No.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's I've got a clip. Do you want to see Dad's army?
If you wish to show us, you are welcome to.
Anybody want to see what I'm talking about? I like this scene, so I wanted to put it in.
Wilson, they're a nation of automatons.
Oh, hang on. I don't think I've got the sound on, have I? I'm not. I've got to tick that. Is this here, look?
Led by a lunatic who looks like Charlie Chaplin.
How dare you compare our glorious leader with that non-Aryan clown?
Oh, look here.
I am making notes, Captain.
Trust me, it's getting to it.
You'll go on the list. And when we win the war, you will be brought to account.
Right, what you like. You're not going to win this war.
Oh, yes, we are.
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, yes, we are.
Whistle while you work. Hitler is at work. He's half army, so's his army. Whistle while you...
Your name will also go on the list. What is it?
Don't tell him, Pike.
Pike.
It made me laugh anyway. Your name's going on the list. Don't tell me your name, Pike.
Very good.
Anyway, I digress.
Sean O'Sullivan says the shuttlepod Pike was later replaced with the Anson Mount, and everybody pretended it was the same ship.
The shuttle. Sorry, what was that?
Shuttlepod Pike was
Yes.
later replaced with the Anson Mount.
The Anson Mount. I guess that's that the name
And
of
everybody
the.
pretended it was the same ship.
Oh.
I don't know. Don't know what that's a reference to, but maybe we'll see that or come across that at some future point.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Sean. Yes. He's about to leave, and a female called Varia gets him to thumb scan the delivery. But instead of just recording his thumbprint, it jolts Data unconscious. And they scan him to determine his chemical makeup. And picture change. Oh, did that work? I think that worked. He leaves the trader's ship whilst being monitored from the bridge of the Enterprise, but on the way over, Data and the shuttle blows up. Dun 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 dun, and that was the end of the teaser.
So do you know why it's called The Most Toys?
I guess because he's got all the toys in his collection.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's sort of like a reference to that, but it's also it's based on a phrase which goes something like he who has the most toys when he dies wins, or something. Was it he who dies with the most toys wins? Yeah, whoever dies with the most toys wins. So it's from that. So I guess that's his obsession of collecting, is he thinks the more things he collects, like that's basically his I'm winning at life.
Well, I must be doing pretty well because I've got quite a lot of toys.
Yeah.
Sean says that Don't Tell Him Your Name, Pike is usually voted one of top 5 UK comedy moments of all time, up there with Del falling through the bar. And only fools and horses, where he goes to suavely lean against the bar and the bar manager has lifted the bar up.
And he's having to explain his joke to us. So Anson Mount is the name of the Pike actor in Strange New Worlds.
Oh, of course it is. Yes.
So it was a joke. Sorry, we didn't get it.
No, we didn't. I am quite looking forward to Strange New Worlds, though, in a kind of way. Yeah. Oh, Karen's just come through with an answer of B. Yeah, I've heard Chewy. He's moaning outside the office somewhere. I've heard him barking away. Sorry about that. So as it's the end of the teaser, we will go back to the question, and I'll repeat it again just for Sean's benefit. What was
Sean
the name?
answered.
Oh, did he? Is Sean got?
Yep.
I didn't know if he was around for the.
Sean answered Jovis. Everybody
B.
else answered B, which is Jovis.
Jovis,
I
yes.
answered C just because I didn't want to copy everybody because
The
I
Harvest.
absolutely have no idea. So
Jarvis,
so
Jovis,
I'm
Harvest,
guessing
Hovis.
everybody is right and I'm wrong, right?
It's the Jovis. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Jovis. So yes, 20 points for everyone. Some of the questions tonight have a bonus question attached to them as well. So, and they're all multiple choice.
Very G-star of
I've
you.
got multiple choice and bonuses. I'm G-starring it up this evening. Yeah.
Just like the old days.
Yeah. So, Act 1. Fadjo hails the Enterprise and asks, were they able to save the pilot? Picard confirms they did not. Picard asks Fadjo to send his sensor logs over, which Fadjo does. Despite the loss of the shuttle, they still have enough hydratium to carry out their mission, but only just. The Enterprise departs and we see that on the Jovis, Data is still very much alive, although he's stunned and appears to be in some sort of art gallery or museum. He wakes up to find his communicator gone. Fadjo enters with Varia and admires Data as a remarkable piece of work. Data wants to know why he is here. Fadjo tells him that he is there for his own entertainment. Data disagrees as he's a Starfleet officer and asks to be freed. Fadjo declines the request, so Data attempts to escape. However, he finds the door will not open for him as it requires galvanic skin and DNA patterns. I had to Google what galvanic means, but yeah. Data decides to try and force Fadjo to open it, but gets zapped by a force field created by Fadjo's proximity-actuated field, which impedes positron flows. Sounds all very complicated, but it's bad news for Data all round, really. He's thought about how to keep Data at bay. And I got another picture.
Apparently, a galvanic skin response is a change in the electrical resistance of the skin caused by emotional stress.
Yeah. I thought it was like his type of alien that he was. Like a galvanic force field.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't think he was galvanic. So I looked it up and was like, oh no, that's an actual thing. It's an actual scientific, term.
Used in lie detector tests and stuff, apparently.
Yeah. There's Data getting zapped. Yeah.
Zappity-doo-da.
Fadjo then takes Data on a tour of his collection and he shows Data which Data is now a member. One of the items being a 1962 Roger Maris trading card with bubblegum scent. But question 2, before we get to the trading card, we see a painting on the wall. But the painting was from which artist? Was it A, Pablo Picasso, B, Claude Monet, C, René Magritte, or D, Salvador Dali?
I know that one.
That's for 40 points. But there is a 50-point bonus on this one if you can name the name of the painting.
Not without looking at my notes.
Before we get to the Roger Maris trading card, we see a painting on the wall. Is it from Pablo Picasso, Claude Monet, René Magritte, or Salvador Dali? And for 50 bonus points, can you name the painting? I'm sorry, Karen, Chewie's not around at the moment. He's playing with the kids somewhere in the house. But, yeah.
So did you know, you probably did know, you've seen this probably all over Facebook with my posts, but that the guy who plays Fadjo, Saul Rubinek, wasn't the original actor. So there was a guy, right, British actor called David Rappaport, who was originally supposed to play Fadjo. And then he attempted suicide a couple of days into filming, so they replaced him. And then he actually succeeded in his suicide a few months later. So that was like super unfortunate. And he was also a little person. And there were some ideas tossed around early on in the production about making the whole set a bit smaller so that other people had to, they didn't fit into his world, if you like. And they knew it would cause them some production issues, but they thought, it might be quite a cool thing to do, to just sort of, turn it on its head and have him in his own environment sort of thing and make everybody else sort of uncomfortable. But obviously when what happened, they were like, really glad that they didn't have all these little sets that they built and spent like massive investment in. But Saul Rubinek, he actually knows the director Timothy Bond. They just bumped into each other, and he was a Trekkie, so he was asking to have a tour of the studios. And then when they realised they needed somebody to replace David Rappaport, they were like, how much do you want that tour of the studios? Because apparently he would never normally do sort of bit parts. It was just something that he refused to do. So they kind of managed to convince him into it, just because they sort of had a personal relationship with him. So yeah, that was quite fortuitous, I'd say.
Because Rubinek's Canadian, isn't he, as well? He's a Canadian guy.
Right.
But he's a fantastic character actor, and he's great in this, and he's great in Warehouse 13, which I absolutely love. And it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's great to have him in this and be that character, because he's kind of like, he reminds me of Harry Fenton Mudd from the original series. And I mean the Harry Mudd from the original series rather than the Harry Mudd we see in, was it Discovery he came back in? Which really wasn't really Harry Mudd, not the character I know. But this guy very much reminds me of him in his ways, the way he can't tell the truth, for anything really. Something timey-wimey. Yeah, it was a good guess.
I thought it was something about timelessness, or I don't know, timey-wimey.
Yep. So we've got lots of answers in. I think we've got lots of answers in now. So the artist is
Mickey, Sean, Karen, Stu, and me. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
The artist is Salvador Dali. It was a Salvador Dali, and it was the one with the melting clocks. And that painting was called The Persistence of Memory. So well done, Mickey, for getting
very good.
The 50 bonus points there. Very good.
50 bonus points.
Yeah.
Wow. So Mickey's on 110, Stu Plum's on 60, Kaz is on 60, I'm on 40, and Sean is on 20.
Yeah, there's plenty more points to be had though, so don't worry. The last thing they show data, Virgil shows data as they're going around the museum, is a lizard puppet thing, which, it's important because it's one of a kind, like everything else in the collection, including data. Virgil then shows him his seat in the collection.
It's a lapling.
A lapling, yeah.
And it was created by Michael Westmore, but apparently, he goes up to it and he's like, bitty, 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 and he feeds it. Well, that whole bitty, bitty, bitty thing, it became like a bit of a running gag, and people on sets all the time would go bitty, bitty, bitty. It just became like a thing that the cast and crew would do to each other. They think that it sort of latched onto people because of, like Twiggy from Buck Rogers used to go bitty, bitty, bitty. But yeah, so people used to do that all the time. Apparently, it became a bit of a running gag.
Yeah. Sean says the Harry Mudd who was in Discovery was also in Galaxy Quest. So got to fulfill his dream of being in the real one. What was he in Galaxy Quest then? I'm trying to think what character he played in it.
Don't know.
Oh, right. Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great film.
It is, yeah. So Fazio shows him his seat in the collection, but Data refused to sit in it. And he tells Fazio that he considers his captivity a hostile act. But Fazio's like, yeah, and leaves. And that was the end of Act 1. Yeah, that was Act 1. Anything else from Act 1 that we haven't covered?
Not really. It's just a lot more about the whole same thing. Apparently, they only replaced David Rappaport after they'd already sent out the promotional sort of photographs and things like that and promos. So yeah, that's a bit of an oops. And originally there was going to be a lot more elaborate makeup and kind of like long pointy ears, a bit Vulcan-esque, but more crazy and different colored skin tones. And they toned all that down just because they had to refilm a lot of scenes, and so they wanted to make it quicker and easier to do that for the production team.
Yeah, I have seen a picture of the guy in his makeup. I might.
Yeah,
see-
they've
I'll
put
see-
some of the deleted scenes onto like one of the special edition DVD box sets and stuff. So there is sort of footage out there of what they replaced.
I'll have to. Karen pointed out that she did say the melting one, and it was the melting clocks. So
Did I said timey-wimey?
you said tiny wimey.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't expect any
Well,
points for that.
I'll give Karen 5 points for melting one. There you go. You can have 5. You can have yourself 5.
5 point
You get your
bonus.
5 point bonus there, Karen, for nearly getting there. Yeah.
To be fair, I think a lot of Dali pictures have got melting things in them.
Well, they do, but she kind of had something right-ish.
Yeah, she had the image. She had the image in her
Well,
mind.
it was there. Yeah, it was there. Okay.
I have more things as well. Sorry, the
Go on.
the what do you call them? The baseball cards.
Yes.
As a result of this, the series writer and a long-time baseball fan, Micah Pillar, started collecting baseball cards. Because of this episode, this sort of got him interested in it, and he had 2,000 cards before his death in 2005. So yeah, that sort of started a bit of an obsession for him. And there was something about that actual card, although I can't find it now. Never mind, I'll come back to. Oh, there we go. Oh, it was the first in the top series of 598 cards. And was of Maris having bested Babe Ruth in his home run record. Sorry, that's not that interesting then. Anyway, okay, carry on. There's all kind of things about props. I won't even go through them all, but there's all kinds of things about props. I'll maybe drop one or two in at some point.
Yeah, I've got a few prop things.
Like comparisons and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, Rainn Wilson, who was Harry Mudd, played one of the Thermians and one of the aliens.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Cool.
there you go. Thanks, Sean. Act 2, then. We're on to Act 2 already. Geordie and Wes go to Data's quarters to clean out everything. Wes cannot believe that Data is gone. Geordie tells him he always thought Data would outlive them by centuries. They look at the unfinished picture that we saw a few episodes ago in Tin Man. I can bring that one up. It's that one there. Which I said at the time. I said, we'll see that in a couple of episodes' time.
Yeah,
again.
you did.
And it still had the same red cloth going over it. They go to Data's desk and find a book of the complete works of Shakespeare that Picard given him. Some poker chips and playing cards, a collection of Data's Starfleet medals, and the holographic device that displays the image of Natasha Yar. The Forge keeps going over and over the accident in his mind and wonders what the hell happened in the shuttle pod. One little thing with the book. Let me go. Where am I? Sorry, I should have been there. That's the book that they find. It says Shakespeare complete. But the last time we saw that was in The Measure of a Man, and it was actually a different book. The prop was a different book in The Measure of a Man because it was brown rather than red.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah.
it's supposed to be the same book, the book that Picard gave him as a present, but it's a different,
Just magically changed.
magically changed to a different prop. Yeah. Baseball cards is a minor continuity error as in later episode. Kelso from Scrubs says the sport is forgotten. This also backed up in Deep Space Nine. Yes, yeah, I guess you're right in that Cisco tries to resurrect it, doesn't he? Because baseball's a completely dead and forgotten sport. But I guess obscure collectors like Fajo still knows about the craze of baseball cards.
Yeah, I mean, Cisco says that it hasn't been played for 200 years. So, that would indicate, because that's what the mid 23rd century. So that would indicate that it was, sort of still played until sorry, that's mid 24th century, isn't it? So yeah, it was still played into the 2150s or something. But yeah, it hadn't been played for 200 years, but some people were obviously still aware of it. There's another baseball card that actually crops up at Deep Space Nine as well. But yeah, like I say, it's a rare item.
Rare item indeed. The Forge keeps going over and over the accident in his mind and wonders what the hell happened on the shuttle pod. Got another picture. Is that loading? There we go. Back on Jovis. Were you going to say something there, Maz?
No. I was just trying to get my thingy back up.
Okay. Back on the Jovis, Varia comes back and tells Data that Fajo wants him to wear these specific clothes and to sit in the chair. Data says no. Varia tells him that the Enterprise thinks he's died in a shell explosion, and they made sure that they wouldn't find him by putting the right amount of his component elements in the debris. So no one's looking for him. She tells him his rewards for loyalty will be lavish, but the punishments for disloyalty will be equally lavish. And as she says that, she touches her face, giving us the impression that bad things have happened to her in the past. She says, "Face it, android, he has you." To which Data replies, "It looks like he has us both." In Picard's ready room, Geordi reports back to Picard and Riker that the only explanation for the shuttle explosion is pilot error, but Geordi doesn't believe it himself. In that scene, at the beginning of that scene, Picard is sitting behind his desk, but in his ready room, where is Riker sitting? Is he sitting A, on top of Picard's desk, B, in front of Picard's desk, C, on the sofa in the ready room, or D, he's not sitting but actually standing next to Geordi?
Good question.
Yeah. So, where is he saying?
That Dali painting was completely the wrong size, by the way. I mean, it was painted obviously by, another person that actually made the prop for them, but the original was apparently very, very small. It was only like 9 by 13 inches.
Was it
whereas
really?
This one was really quite sizable.
Well, I guess
So
you
although
always
it might
see
have
those
looked like
Dali
a good replica-
posters. You always assume that they're big.
They're massive, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually tiny in real life.
Yeah. So yes, at the beginning of the scene where Geordi reports back to Riker and Picard in the ready room is Riker sitting on Picard's desk, in front of Picard's desk, on the sofa, or actually standing next to Geordi. A, B, C, or D. They tell the Forge to get some rest before the decontamination mission. Riker comments that Data's emotionlessness did not prevent him from stirring up strong emotions in others. And he then recommends Worf to take Data's place at Ops and leaves. Picard looks at the complete works of Shakespeare that Geordi left behind and reads a passage from it that reminds him of his lost officer. He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again. So for a bonus 50 points on this question, which Shakespeare play was that quote from? So yeah, this is a double point question. 60 for the question, 50 for the bonus. He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
You just like quoting him, don't you?
I do. I like a good Shakespeare quote. What play was
here's
that quote
one
taken from?
You
Sorry.
probably know this already, but Saul Rubinek and Brent Spiner also play against each other in a recurring story thread of Warehouse 13.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's right.
And
Warehouse.
his name, I mean, he's wealth obsessed, right? And his first name, Kivas, is actually a valuable gemstone in the Star Trek universe. And his surname apparently is from the series pre-production associate Lolita Faggio. Apparently.
Sean wants me to repeat the quote again. I can do that, sir. I love a good quote. He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again. Yes. It was taken from which Shakespeare play?
Is he pandering to you, do you think?
I think he's just let me do it again because he knows I like doing it.
Yeah.
If you can say the play, act, and scene, that would be you could get 3 for 3. Yeah.
So a couple of bits of bobs. The communication device that Sarjenka had in Pen Pals is one of the artifacts in his collection, as is a vase that's seen in the crew quarters multiple times in later series. You probably have that already, don't you?
That vase there?
Yes, I believe so. There's the melty welty timey wimey.
Yeah, there's the Dali there. I'm surprised that they actually had someone paint that as a prop and they didn't actually just use a print or something. Here's that vase in parallels and rightful heir. I see they decorate it and put it in Worf's quarters. There's this thing, this contraption.
Yeah, I noted down what he said about that. He said something about this is a so and such, the first of its kind, but I didn't really.
I don't know, but it's
The
there.
very first pastile ever created. Don't know.
It's there in Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
and
cool.
Here it is in Voyager.
One of those multi-carrying props.
Yeah, it's one of the all the props. They all keep coming back, don't they? You know. Yeah. Anyway, have we got some answers in? Sorry, you're going to have to work this one out. You're going to have to work this one out. So, where was Riker? First, we'll deal with the Riker thing. Where was he in the ready room? And I have a picture to answer your question. There it is.
So what is that? Stood up?
No, he sat on Picard's desk.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was.
I nearly went for that one. I'm annoyed now.
It was A. It was A. I think.
Did anybody answer A? Oh,
Stuplum
Stuplum did.
I think got that one. So well done to Stuplum for that one.
Just Stuplum, was it? Looks like. Okay, so that's 60 points, right?
Karen. Oh no, that's it's something. I could only see. I think only Stuplum got that one right. And the quote.
Yeah, I think so.
Is from Hamlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that, but again, it's in my notes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you know what act and scene?
It does say that in my notes somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Shall I make you find it?
Act 2, scene 1 or something?
Act 1, scene 2. Yes.
Oh,
Hamlet. Hamlet, Act 1, scene 2. Yes.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah.
So Karen and Stuplum got the bonus question. Oh, Mickey got Hamlet as well. So 3 people got the bonus question right.
Well done.
How many points was the bonus question?
50. Yeah, 50
points. So that's Stuplum on 170, Mickey on 160, Kaz on 115, me on 40, and Sean on 20. Sorry, Sean. You got good trivia knowledge, but you're not quite getting the questions right.
He'll come through. He's just waiting for the bigger pointed questions. Yeah. Yeah. Act 3 then. opens up with Data feeding the puppet Laptid or whatever it's called. Lapling. Making loo noises.
He's like making loo noises and just like throwing handfuls of food at it. I thought
just
it was
throwing it in his eyes.
Comical moment. Puppet abuse.
It was. Fajo enters and is annoyed that Data hasn't got out of his uniform yet. Data tells him he's designed with fundamental respect for all life and a strong inhibition for causing harm to other living beings. Fajo thinks that's a contradiction, as he's a military pacifist, and wonders why Data is even in Starfleet. He asks Data if he's ever killed anyone yet. Data says he has not, but he is capable of deadly force. I thought about that and thought, has Data not shot anyone or anything else? But I guess if they do, they probably stun people, don't they? They spend most of the time stunning people.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I remember he kills a Borg in First Contact, I think.
Stop it. Boof.
Boof. Yeah.
He tries to recreate it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fajo tries to convince him that here is a better place for him as he's not at war with anyone, but Data's not buying it. Fajo tries to convince him that he wouldn't judge him so harshly if he knew of his wasted youth struggling on the streets of Zibalian. He even
says Zimbalia, but it is supposed to be Zibalia.
Zibalia?
Yeah, he adds an extra M in. I think it's just a mispronunciation.
Right. I see. He even sheds a tear down his cheek. But Data's not buying that either, to which Fajo quickly confirms that it was all lies anyway. And he was actually grew up wealthy. He goes over to the replicator, which incidentally, that's the replicator that they've just temporarily ripped out of the sick bay set and pasted to the wall of this set. But they've replaced the LCAR's screens with other coloured blocks. But that is the sick bay replicator.
Yeah.
Fajo goes over to the replicator and orders a flask of phenoplac, an acid that melts clothing but does not harm Data's skin, or whatever you call it. He throws it all over Data. Fajo says he'd be happy if Data just decided to walk around naked, but suspects Data's training would mean he would give in to modesty. He leaves Data pondering his predicament. I think we learned in an earlier episode that Data does have a modesty subroutine, which stops him walking around the Enterprise naked.
Correct. Yes. And yeah, there's a bit of a miscontinuity. I mean, when he first throws it and it starts steaming, it looks really kind of good. And then the next minute, the splodge is in a completely different place. And then it actually just stops steaming and stops melting. So it kind of belies his assertion that his uniform would be gone in seconds.
There you go. That's the effect
Splodge.
there of the melting splodge. Yeah. On the Big D, Geordi is having nightmares of Data's explosion, and during the nightmare he comes to a realization that he did miss something. Meanwhile,
when he wakes up, he kind of like picks up his visor and seems to look at it and then put it on.
Yeah.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
a blind
you
man.
can't see what you're holding in your hand. Why are you staring at it?
He had to see which way it was so he could put it on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Worf is assigned to Data's ops duties. Deanna Troi is concerned for him as Worf was close to Data, and this is the second time Worf's replaced a crewmate who has died, because, of course, he replaced Tasha Yara's head of security. Worf points out that promotion due to death of crewmate is common among Klingon vessels, and adds that he'll honour Data's death by performing his duties as well as he did. I mean, Data's a bit of a tough act to follow, isn't he? In that role, to be honest. You're good, Worf,
Well, I
but
can't do it as fast as he
not
would.
as fast. No.
Might have some better intuition.
maybe. And he does do well in the episode. I'll give him that. There's interesting, fun turbo lift things during this scene. I don't know if you know.
No.
So it's one of the rare times they have entering a turbo lift and exiting of the turbo lift in one continuous scene.
Oh, right.
You know, without a cut. So I think I can probably, through this site here, show you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, she gives like a weird cheeky little smile at the end as well, which seemed a bit odd.
Hang on. Yes, you did. She seemed like really chuffed with herself that she actually did something, you know. So they enter the turbo lift and you can see a corridor wall in the background. They then chat throughout the turbo lift moving. It goes up and then it goes sideways for a bit. Then it goes up again. And then the turbo lift opens and they exit onto the bridge. This was done once before in season 2, where they had, for the first scene here, they had a blue screen in the background and they superimposed the corridor. But for this scene here, they actually just had...
lift a piece of set.
Yes, they had a fake corridor wall that they held there, closed the doors, lifted that bit of set away, opened the doors again, and it was the bridge. The things that give it away the most is the wall is far too close. It looks like the corridor behind them is like ultra narrow.
I was going to say, normally you can see down the corridor at a turbo lift, actually.
Well, that's why they use this particular turbo lift, because it's in the corner next to the holodeck. And that also causes, I love this. This is like really, really, really down the
geek hole.
Down the geek hole. Right. Here we have a set plan. This is the turbo lift in question. And here's the entrance to the holodeck or cargo bay, depending on...
So it is opposite a wall.
And it's opposite a wall.
Yeah, because most of the other ones are at the end of a corridor, aren't they?
That's correct. Both of these are at the end of corridors. Yeah. But they wanted it to be the one opposite a wall. So you see them walk down this corridor and enter this turbo lift. But the problem is this wall here is actually beige. Because it's this wall... It's this wall here.
Right.
So
they made it one of those sort of panelled ones.
Yeah. It should have been a cream wall in the background and not a panelled wall. Here it is again in Hollow Pursuits. You can see the cream wall in the background. This is actually the cargo bay rather than the holodeck. But either way, in this configuration, it should be the cream wall. But yeah, anyway, I thought that was a nice little...
Yeah,
it's a nice little thing. Anyway, I just said in my notes, go to Turbo Lift set design fun times. Yeah.
One man's fun.
One man's fun is Mickey crying at his keyboard. Yeah.
Yeah, he says that is some observation.
Yeah. In engineering, Geordie and Wes are reviewing the audio logs from the shuttle flight. Geordie points out that the last log data failed to transmit the status message several seconds before it exploded. Though minor, data would never not follow standard procedures. So Geordie's conclusion is there must have been something wrong with data. It's a shame because all this investigation stuff by Geordie and Wes in this episode doesn't really come to anything. They don't go, oh,
no,
that's...
I mean, I guess it makes them a little suspicious, doesn't it? But yeah.
They're not really the ones that instigate the oh my God, he's still alive.
Good point.
I will say, this Pinot Taj Malbec, very nice. Very nice.
Nice.
Later that evening, Fadra tries to show off his new acquisition to a friend and competitor, Palar Toth. Data stands still, and shows no sign of activity. This angers Fajo, as he's made to look like a fool in front of his friend. He touches Data, which activates the force field, and Data falls to the ground like a dummy. I don't know, the stuntman that played Data for that like pratfall did it really well, because he did like bounce. He bounced off like the sofa like a dummy, didn't he? It was quite good. Sadly, the guy that played this character here, this character called Paylor Toff, was called Nehemiah. Oh, I can't say his name. Nehemiah. That's it. Nehemiah Persoff. Unfortunately, died 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right.
On the 5th of April this month. A week ago Tuesday. So
Coinkydink.
he passed away. Yes.
He must have been a ripe old age, though.
Very much so. I think it was like 102 or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He certainly beat the odds then.
Yeah. I mean, he's an old man here in Star Trek. Yes, but he passed away 2 weeks ago. So, question 4. Before Fajo and Palor enter, Data is sniffing the bubblegum from the baseball card. But what is the name of the player on the card? Is it A, Babe Ruth, B, Roger Clemens, C, Mickey Mantle, or D, Roger Maris?
I know.
What is the name of the baseball player on the card? Is it Babe Ruth, Roger Clemens, Mickey Mantle, or Roger Maris?
Did you know that there was a collectible box set from the Star Trek customizable card game that was aptly named the Fajo Collection? I guess partly because he had collectible cards and partly because he collected things. But yeah, they used that as a little name for one of their collectible sets.
I actually have you can't see it, in a blue box about there. I have a whole collection of Star Trek The Next Generation card game cards.
Yeah, see, we said about showing your toys each week. We could have got some of those out. I forgot to remind you.
My T-shirt pokes out below my my uniform, so I'm not gonna go backwards. Oh, hi, Andrew. Andrew's on. How are you doing? We're doing well, Andrew. How are you doing? We hope you had a lovely Easter. Yes. Yes. So, anything for Act 3? Anything else for Act 3 there, Maz?
Not so much. Just some of the. So his outfit there, that Nehemiah Persoff.
Paylor Toff.
Paylor Toff. That sold on its wrap for $206. A stunt actor's technical costume sold for $202. Saul Rubenek's costume there, Kivas Fajo, sold for just under $1,000. The costume worn by Brent Spiner out of the Data, the purpley costume, that sold for only $600, but
That's
a second
cheap.
one sold later for $2,000.
Oh, geez, I'll say that's cheap.
Mm.
I'd have bought one.
The Varan T Disruptor sold for $1,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's been a lot of things as well.
Is it the prop?
We'll get onto that one in a minute.
They've got a few. Well, yeah, they had more than one. Yeah, second one sold later for quite a bit less, and a third again less. But yeah.
Cool. Right. So Act 4. On to Act 4 already. The Enterprise arrives at Beta Agni system, and Picard orders Data to scan the planet, forgetting that Worf was manning ops. They launch a probe containing the Hydratium to populate the water table. The substance works a lot quicker than expected, and Worf reports an unusual concentration of trisinite, these terrible long words, than would normally occur. So Picard orders Riker to investigate with an away team. Riker takes Worf and Dr. Crusher and beams down to the surface. On the Jovis, Data is looking at the Mona Lisa and tries to imitate her smile, like many people have done over the centuries. Fadjo enters and tries to convince him to sit in the chair, but Data refuses. Fadjo says, you will sit in the chair. He opens up a secret safe and pulls out a Varon T disruptor. It's a disruptor that tears the body apart slowly, and it's a very painful death. Data says, you will not destroy me as you place value on my being. Quite right, says Fadjo, and brings in Varia. He tells her it's been a fun 14 years and points the disruptor at her. But Data gets his attention. He's sat in the chair. Yeah, picture.
That golden, I was going to say that golden headband thing there on Toff was also later seen as a decoration aboard Relay Station 47 in Next Generation episode called Aquiel.
Ooh.
Also a little 47 reference there. I know it's about a different episode, but still.
There they are on Planet Hill. Right, should we go back to the questions? The question from the last... So
we got
was this 100-point question?
D, a D, and a C.
And which
no
one?
answer from Kaz.
Which one did you put, Maz?
I put D, which Smiler put as Roger Rabbit, but it was Roger Maris.
Rabbit. I didn't see that. Yeah, very good. It was Roger Maris. Yes.
Kaz missed the question.
I did look up. They were all actual baseball players, though. I put together a good set of baseball players.
Yes, you certainly did. So that's how many points? 80. For Mickey, that puts him on 240. For me, that puts me on 120.
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah. And for Sean, that puts him on 100. So it is now a bit closer. Mickey's in the lead with 240. Stu Plum is next with 170. And then it's me, Kaz, and Sean all close, only 5 points apart.
Very close. Very close.
Karen's come in with a D, a bit late. Do we give her points?
Yeah, go on then. Go on then. As it's you, Karen, you can have the points.
That puts Karen into second place. Click the live button, Karen. Just in case you're not watching it live.
Smiler Rainbow's trying to convince Chewie into the... Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen in the background, Smiler Rainbow has been getting my car collection.
Oh, I saw some movement. I thought it was Chewie.
There you go. So...
whenever I see something crawling around on the floor behind you, I just assume it's Chewie. I never thought it would be a Smiler Rainbow.
I don't know. What have I got here? I'm trying to find an interesting card. So, for example, here is a VIP. The guy who... I don't know if you can see. That's an example of one of the cards. He was the telepath that... brought those two races together, after he lost his... he was deaf, sorry. He wasn't
In Lord
telepath.
is a Whisper.
Yeah, he was...
Wasn't he called Reva?
He had
something?
a Reva, that's it, Reva. He had a chorus, didn't he?
Yes.
So I've got literally hundreds of these.
So is it like Top Trumps, where you play each card and you say what
It's a
criteria
bit
you
like
want to
that,
match it
yeah.
on or something?
It's a bit like that, yeah. They've all got like stats and things. And you've got crew members and you've got ships, and you can put your crew members on ships, and they've all got various ratings. So, for example, there's an Excelsior class ship. Don't know if you can see that one.
Nice.
But I've got lots of copies of the rules. I've got hundreds of these. But they've been sat in my desk there for, I don't know, 30 years.
A few years.
Yeah. For reasons. Anyway, here we go. Thank you,
think
Smiler
maybe it
Rainbow.
was that she wasn't quite watching it live. She went, "Oh, that's the problem. Thor sat on my phone, so I'm behind. Sorry."
Oh, yeah. That can happen. That can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we see the away team beaming down to scan the cyanite, but find that it was planted rather than naturally occurring. They deduce that Fajo created the problem so that he could sell the solution. They beam back to the D to discuss it in the observation lounge. The Doctor points out that her tritium is actually difficult to produce and transport, so Fajo wouldn't have made much of a profit, if anything. So why would he go to all the effort? Picard brings up his computer file, which states he's a collector of rare and valuable objects. And they're like, oh, damn, data. So they set
But
course.
then, surely his profile would say, well-known thief
Yeah.
and con artist. Why would it have him as a collector of antiquities?
He's got
Not
the
a single thing does he own properly.
He's got the friggin' Mona Lisa,
Yeah.
which is the most valuable painting on the planet. And I can only imagine in 400 years' time or whatever that it's going to be probably one of the most valuable paintings in the solar system.
I think so, yeah.
How could Starfleet or the Louvre just go, oh, it just went missing?
Quite.
But did you know there are supposedly two Mona Lisas?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there is another one. Actually, there's three. But one of them's been definitely associated to one of Picasso. Is that right? Da Vinci, sorry. One of Da Vinci's, what do you call it? People who trained up.
His,
one of his,
one
of his school, one of his apprentices. Yeah. But there's another one that's earlier that's earlier than the Mona Lisa by about 10 years. And I think it's actually more...
I think I have seen that somewhere, yeah.
Let's just bring it up. I'll show you.
You're saying about the how valuable it is. Another one that was mentioned that Fajo has in his collection is Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night.
Yeah. But there's the first one on the left there. That's the actual Mona Lisa, and then on the right there is the other Mona Lisa that's actually owned by a consortium. It is in a vault in Switzerland. But I think it's actually more pretty than the actual Mona Lisa. But it's
definitely
it's Lisa when about 10 years before this one.
Yeah, right.
There's been a lot of there's also this one. This is the one that was by one of his students. After they think this was painted because they've sampled the paint, they think this one was painted after he died.
Right.
But the other one, this one, that's not a very good picture of it. This one was painted before, about 10 years before. So they think it was done by Da Vinci, but it was an earlier version. And then the rich guy that commissioned the picture of his wife asked him for a new, up-to-date, better one 10 years later.
It's almost like taking a more recent photograph. Right?
Yes, exactly. But he wanted the same composition, so he repainted it, and that was the one that became famous. But I think the other one's actually prettier. But there you go. It's in a vault. Nobody ever sees it. Locked away. I don't know why
Sean was saying that the Mona Lisa was lost for a few years after the war because it was hidden from the Nazis.
it was hidden from the Nazis, yes. This one at that time was in England in a like a lord's house. And it was in the mansion in Isleworth. So it's known as the Isleworth Mona Lisa. because of that's where it spent most of its time, hung up in a country home in Isleworth. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So Mona Lisa.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, he also had Van Gogh's Starry Night. So yeah, he had quite a few different major artifacts. So he must have been a well-known thief. I mean, yeah. Anyway,
so they finally got the idea that maybe, maybe not all is what it seems.
and of course that set there is the set. Well, it's been used for loads of things, hasn't it? But most recently seen in Captain's Holiday when they were digging for the Toxutat.
That's correct. As you say, a number of that's where they were digging in Captain's Holiday. You can see the same steps. This is in the Enemy, where he was trapped on a planet with the Romulan. But they call it the set Planet Hell, and we see it. We see it over and over again.
Yeah,
it's various caves and planets and all sorts of things. So anyway, they've set course back to the site of the shuttle explosion. Back on the Jovis, Varia offers to help Data escape. She opens the safe and takes the Veron T disruptor. But then where do they head to? Do they go to A, Shuttle Bay 2, B, the primary transporter room, C, the aft cargo bay, or D, the bridge? So, Data and Varia, once they open the safe and get the disruptor, where do they head to? Shuttle Bay 2, the primary transporter room, the aft cargo bay, or the bridge? And that is your last question for this evening, because I forgot, I've just realised, to write a question down for Act 5. So yes, this is your final question.
I'm not sure on that one, I've got to say. I don't know when it happened, but apparently at some point in this episode, Picard addresses LaForge as Lieutenant, which apparently is wrong because he's a Lieutenant Commander. So it should be either Lieutenant Commander or Commander, but apparently never Lieutenant. That's like...
He was Lieutenant.
Faux pas, because you're like demoting somebody.
He was a Lieutenant in season 1. But then he got promoted to Lieutenant Commander when he was made Chief Engineer.
Yep. 'Tis right.
Yeah. So that was the end of Act 4. Have we got anything else about Act 4 there, Maz?
Probably. I don't know. There's just so many notes. I had like 9 pages. I managed to condense it down to about 5, but there was a lot. Oh, apparently there was a scene which was in the script but not in the final episode, where Farjo sent Varia to test Data's sexual subroutines, and it's something which embarrassed Varia or humiliated her, and was one of the key things which led to her doing what she does later. But it was obviously sort of didn't make it through to the final episode. And there's also a reference in it's a Deep Space Nine novel called The Fall of Terok Nor, which establishes that by 2374 Farjo's collection was all sold at auction and had been bought for a large sum of money, which seems a bit odd because they say that they're going to return things to their rightful owners.
And I think they did. That person that wrote that book didn't know what he was talking about.
No.
Though I do think that possibly a Farjo, a Star Trek 9, The Wrath of Farjo would have been a better movie to get that character actor back. Like, now he's older and he's been locked away for years, and he blames it all on Data. And he comes back, he hires some mercenaries or something, And after maybe after First Contact, when the Enterprise has been half Borgified, it's got to go for like a deep clean in Starbase, and when all the crew are gone and it's just like the command crew on board, Fajo comes with his mercenaries and takes over the Enterprise, and it's like a sort of die-hard thing with Data. Data pitched against Fajo on the Enterprise to outwit each other or something. You know, that would have been a better movie than Insurrection, I think.
Very cool.
So, yeah, they missed an opportunity there because he was like, you know, you think you're locking me away, but I'll get you one day. You'll be back in my collection. And then they could have followed that up. Wrath of Khan style, you know.
I like it. You should pitch the idea.
Right, so yeah, that was Act 4. Have we got all the answers in? No. I'll wait because Karen's watching it on.
Missing Kaz again.
She's watching it on delay, so we'll give her a few minutes to catch up.
Smiler Rainbow says maybe Picard was cross with him. Was that as a reference to why he demoted Geordie with one of his phrases? It's like, yeah, if I'm not happy with you, I'm just going to call you by the wrong rank. That'll show you.
My acoustic paneling keeps falling off the walls. It's really bloody annoying. Another tile just dropped off the wall in the background. Anyway, Act 5. Let's go on with Act 5. Back on the Enterprise, they get a tip on Fajo's location, so they set course for Layer 4. Oh, got another picture. There we go. Oh, that might give it a bit of a clue. Actually, let's go for the answers. Karen's got an answer in now. Everybody's gone C, which is the aft cargo bay. You've all done exceptionally well. You know this episode so well as it was the aft cargo bay. I thought some people might think shuttle bay 2 or something like that. But, yes, the aft cargo bay is the correct answer. So well done.
So we got Mickey in the lead with 340. So that means Mickey's won then if we don't have an Act 5 question, doesn't it? So well done, Mickey, this week.
Well done, Mickey. Yeah.
Kaz was second, then Stu, and then me and Sean bringing up the rear.
Nice. So yes, in the aft cargo bay, Data wants to try and contact the Enterprise, but Varia tells him that Fajo has comms all locked down. Data enters the pod whilst Varia starts the launch sequence, as we can see her doing here. A couple of things about this. There's the chair at that console there is one of the chairs from the Enterprise A bridge from Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. We see these octagons. I've got to get it right this time because in a previous episode I did say there was hexagons all over the place, and Trailblazer made a comment that none of them were hexagons.
Not an octagon.
No.
It's not a hexagon or an octagon.
Pentagon.
It's a pentagon.
Yeah. I said hexagons, and they were pentagons and octagons. So I completely got it right. Wrong, sorry. I completely got it wrong. But here we have a pentagon. As first seen in Star Trek 5. We see them all the time in cargo bays and things, along with the cone things from Star Trek 2. These urn-like things down here, they were in another episode as well. So
They're
lots of
upside down.
They're upside down. Yeah, they were table like vases, I think, and they've turned them upside down.
What about the floor?
The floor. What, the characters?
Mm-hmm.
The characters were Arconian.
Oh, yes, but you don't know any trivia about them then?
The Arconian characters?
Yeah.
No.
Well, there's a couple of them. The two of the sets of characters are actually Japanese words.
Oh, are they?
Called Kei and Yuri, who are two of the protagonists of an anime series called The Dirty Pair, which apparently is one of many references because some of the writers and the staff on the show were huge fans.
Ah, that's cool. I did notice there was Iconian characters on the keypad to the safe.
Yeah.
It seems that why they're Arconian. Here's the original in the episode Contagion, where we learned about the Arconians. That was the. They just copied it from there.
That's it. In fact, I think that that cipher there was actually on the walls of behind Data when he was told to change his outfit for dinner.
There's one of the octagons we see in Star Trek V in the background there on the
Pentagons.
planet. Sorry, Pentagons. Oh, geez. I'm glad Trailblazer's not here because he'd be correcting me all over the place. Oh no, that wasn't what I was thinking. There's the
Oh yeah, the
vase things. That was Frame of Mind. We haven't seen that episode yet. Here we see another shot of the cargo bay. You see all these cone things. Again, we see them all the time in cargo bays and things. Here they are in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So, yeah. We see these things all over the place all the time. Yeah. So, yeah. In the cargo bay. Oh, did I just say that? Oh, yeah. I did say that. Varia there is starting the launch sequence. Unfortunately, that sets off an alarm, so security arrives. Varia keeps one of the guards at bay with the Varanti disruptor, but another guard sneaks up behind her and disarms her with the disruptor falling to the ground. Data exits the escape pod and throws off the guard, and disarms and throws the second guard. Data goes back into the pod to continue prepping the launch, but then Fadjo arrives. Varia dives for the disruptor that's on the floor, but misses by a mile. Fadjo then pulls out his own Varanti disruptor and shoots Varia, who dies a painful death.
She sure do.
She sure does. There she is, dying her painful death. Poor Varia. It's a pretty good effect. That was redone for the HD, the Blu-ray.
Makes sense.
Yes, Karen pointed
I
out.
like the asymmetric clothing in this episode, don't they?
They do, yeah. There's definite style. They had someone in to style the jumpsuits in this episode, didn't they? And they had a particular style. Yes. The sight of Varia disintegrating shocks Fadjo, and he throws his disruptor away, as if to think, well, it wasn't me. Data comes back out of the pod to see what happened, and Fadjo blames him for Varia's death. Data picks up the disruptor. Fadjo doesn't think Data will fire the weapon, though, tells him to return to his chair. Fadjo tempts Data to murder him. If only he felt something for Varia's death, Fadjo taunts. Data thinks long and hard about it. Well, for Data anyway, it probably was an eternity in his brain. And he comes to the conclusion that he cannot let this continue. So takes aim. Fadjo is shocked that he's misread the situation. But just then, Data gets beamed up to the Enterprise by O'Brien. In the beaming process, O'Brien picks up that a weapon has been detected and discharged in the transporter beam. He deactivates it. Data arrives and asks Riker to arrange to have Fadjo arrested for murder, kidnapping, and theft. Riker confirms that arrangements have already been made. He questions about the weapon being discharged. Data tells him that something must have occurred during transport. I guess the thing that occurred was Data pressing the fire.
Yeah, so perhaps something occurred. It's like quite a vague way of putting it. You didn't say yes or no, or just perhaps something occurred.
Yeah, it wasn't a lie. It was an omission, as Spock would say.
I think it was, as you've seen Monty Ban, the our sort of Facebook post advertising tonight's TNG review. Just everybody was just posting about Data shooting this guy with mixed sort of messages. Some people saying they shouldn't have made Data lie like a Vulcan, and other people saying it was clearly an emotional decision that's out of character. Other people saying this was a huge step forward for Data in terms of his human type development. But I think, I don't know what you think, but for me, it's like when he says, I can't allow this to continue. He said he could act in self-defense, and I think he just thought long and hard about it and thought this is a really evil guy who's going to go hurting other people. So, can I logically come to a conclusion that by doing away with him, actually, I would be saving other people preemptively. And I think that's kind of the logic that was going on in his brain at the time.
Yeah, I think, in Data's computational, running the numbers, he thought, if I go back, sit in my chair, I'm obliged to try and escape. Farjo's going to shoot more people to try to keep me. So to save lives in the long run, it's him. It's going to have to be, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or whatever it is. And or the one being Farjo.
They tried to sort of like pitch it as a bit of a did he, didn't he? It was never really said either way or not. Was it an accident? Like a hung jury kind of thing. But, actually the writers said that they asked Brent Spiner afterwards whether he thought Data purposefully pulled the trigger or not. And he was adamant that, yes, Data did.
I think he did, definitely, yeah.
But yeah, they said, they wanted it kept ambiguous, that some people could think, well, maybe he didn't. But they actually say that, could they do it all over again, they would have made Data's intentions and the consequences clearer rather than making it so vague. But I don't think it was that vague. Everybody thinks he pulled the trigger.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, it's good. It's a good Data moment, as you say. It's another good moment of Data's growth as a sentient being. Data visits Farjo in the brig. Farjo thinks it's ironic as their roles are now reversed. Farjo says that he will have him in his collection again. Wink, wink, ready for the future movie that never happened. Data tells him his collection has been confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. Farjo thinks that must give him great pleasure, but Data says it does not, sir. I do not feel any pleasure, because I am only an android. And with that, he leaves.
And that's the thing, like, to me, he's almost showing more emotion there. I mean, I know he's not showing emotion, but the way that he goes in there to tell Farjo that his prized collection has all been taken away from him. It's like as if he's, sort of, I don't know, not like gloating, but he's trying to get to him. He's trying to sort of teach him a lesson. He's and I wouldn't say he's enjoying it, but I do think he is trying to needle Farjo a little bit by telling him that. But yeah, it's good. Again, subtle acting from Brent, always really good to get you thinking about what's actually going on in his little positronic brain box.
I think it is. It's like it's double fold, isn't it? Because Farjo, I think, would almost have pleasure himself on knowing he was beaten, and the guy that beat him was salivating in the joy of the victory. But knowing that he'd lost against a machine that really couldn't give a monkeys about it one way or the other, because he doesn't have any emotion, it's kind of even a lot worse for him,
True.
So yeah, it's kind of doubly sweet in a way for Data. Yeah, that you can do that. So yeah, there we go. That was the end of the episode. No more questions because I forgot the last question. So yeah.
The only point I forgot to make was that the Zebalian escape pod, designed by Joseph A. Hodges, later served as the aft portion for multiple other guest ships or alien ships that they encounter in the future.
Oh yeah.
I think this was its first use, but yeah, it is used multiple times in the future.
Well, the front portion of the shuttle pod was the desk and chair and things was the Romulan ship from.
Oh yeah.
So the front bit, the cockpit bit, was from the Defector, and before that, it was the Ferengi shuttle, in the one where they went through the wormhole. But yeah, that's just the front part, as you say. The back part was used.
Goes in and out of several times.
Used for 220. Hey!
Over 200.
Hey, over 200. Yeah, very cool.
Excellent.
Thank you, Smiler. Yes, so let us know in chat what you think this episode should get as far as
Marks out of
marks
10.
out of 10. Yeah, let us know. And I will bring up the old... You don't usually see this because I usually...
Do you know the other thing? It's like just, I don't know, probably just me, but I kept seeing parallels with Cisco all the way through this episode.
All
So,
right.
like when Data was saying to Varia that, basically she was a prisoner too, only she didn't kind of know it. That was pretty much what this side Kira says to that side Cisco in one of the Mirror Universe episodes. And Data's decision not to take his uniform off because he doesn't want to sort of give in to the will of Varjo reminds me of an episode where Cisco and O'Brien get stranded on this planet where this woman's gone all back to nature, and she's got this like colony of people who are farmers, and technology doesn't work there. And she punishes Cisco for not taking his uniform off.
Yeah.
And then there's the collectibles of the the baseball cards. But yeah, I just kept thinking about Cisco all the way through this episode. It's just interesting how they parallel some of the same sort of themes later on in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
We got a 7 from Stuplum.
I will say that it's another one of those episodes that I wasn't particularly looking forward to. But
Enjoyed more than you thought.
I didn't just enjoy it more than I thought. I thought it was actually a bloody good episode. And I don't remember really loving this episode before, but actually this time round I just really enjoyed it and just thought that the writing was good, the guest star was great. I thought Data was brilliant in it. The subtle way he pushed Farjo at every corner, but in that kind of like determined, logical, patient, thoughtful way.
I loved
Just
when he
brilliant.